Alright, from our previous presentation, we have discussed something about the law of sines, wherein we actually derived it by getting the sine of the angle and getting its relation to the side opposite to it. Okay, and we applied the law of sines given that an oblique triangle has a given of two angles and a side, and so with two sides and an angle which is opposite one of them. Okay, but the question here in this presentation is that how are we going to solve oblique triangles if we are given two sides and our two angles and an included side, wherein we cannot either get the ratio of the sine of the angle, or we cannot extract a ratio from those givens using the law of sine. And so with what if we are given three sides? Okay, so that is the big question here. Okay, so let us now try to draw concepts on how are we going to solve oblique triangles using those given. Okay, so again, let us consider oblique triangle ABC, and herein we named the side opposite to the angle prior to the angle opposite to them. Okay, and then we again draw an altitude from a certain angle to a certain point to the side opposite to it. So from C to D, and then we named it as H. So altitude means the height. Okay, and if you would notice, side C here, side C was divided into two parts. That is segment AD and segment BD. Okay, let us name the smaller part, the segment AD, as X, and segment BD as Y. Okay, let us now try to represent the values of the measure of H in terms of the measures we have here on our original oblique triangle. Okay, so kung mapapansin, we by illustrating an altitude here, it actually divided the oblique triangle into two right triangles pa. Okay, so let us now try to draw concepts. How are we going, considering right triangle CAD, how are we going to represent the measure of H in terms of the sides of right triangle CAD? So using the Pythagorean theorem, we will notice that B here would be our hypotenuse, and X is the one leg of the right triangle. So in representing the measure of H, we'll be having H square equals B square, since B is our hypotenuse, and we all know that the hypotenuse is the longest side of the right triangle, minus X square. Okay, so we have just represented the value of H in terms of the sides of right triangle CAD. Okay, similarly, we can do this thing to the other right triangle from our original oblique triangle. Let us now consider right triangle CBD. So in representing the value of H in terms of A and Y, we'll be having H square equals A square, since A would be our hypotenuse, which is the longest side, minus Y square, since Y is one of the legs of the right triangle. Okay, and then if you would notice, pareho lang naman siyang H square, so we can do this. We can actually have B square minus X square equals A square minus Y square. Okay, so these two expressions are indeed equal because we have derived it from our illustration. Okay, and similarly, we can actually manipulate this equation. We'll be having B square, that is B square minus A square. So we have just transposed A squared to the other side of the equation, making it negative, and then we transpose X squared to the other side of the equation, making it positive. Okay, minus Y square. Okay, so that's it. We have just manipulated this equation. Now, getting back to the illustration, if you would notice, C here, side C was divided into two parts. That's X and Y. So we can definitely say that C would be equivalent to X plus Y. So in this case, in this equation, we can actually derive, or we can actually substitute this one. using this concept that c is equal to x plus y. It's either we represent x in terms of c and y, or we represent y in terms of c and x. Okay, so let us represent x in terms of c and y. So that's going to be x equals c minus y. Okay, since we all know that x is equal to c minus y, then we can actually substitute it to our equation. So by substitution, that would be equivalent to what? Okay, copy lang natin. That is b square minus a square equals, so this x, etong x na ito, ay papalitan natin ng c minus y. So that is c minus y. So we'll be having the square of a difference. Okay? And then expanding this expression, we'll be having b square minus a square equals, so FOIL method, the easiest way, FOIL method, or you can actually do the longer method. So the square of the first, that is c square. Okay? That is c square. That is c square, and then outer, that's our FOIL method, that's outer and inner. So that's going to be c times negative y, that is negative cy, times 2, that's gonna be negative 2cy. Okay, and then the square of the last term, that's gonna be the square of negative y, that's going to be positive y square. Okay, minus y square. Alright, there you go. So we have just expanded this expression. Okay, and then simplifying this one, we'll be having, simplify lang natin siya, that is b square minus a square equals c square minus 2cy, and since this is positive y square minus y square, that would be equivalent to 0. So we have this expression. Okay? Now, kung mapapansin ninyo, we have sides A, B, and C already in the formula. Now, let us now represent y in terms of a certain trigonometric function. Okay? So how are we going to represent y prior to angle B? Okay? So that's going to be what? Okay, so using SOHCAHTOA, or using this concept that we have learned from our previous discussions, alin kaya dito sa tatlong trigonometric functions na ito yung magko-contain ng y prior to angle B? So y here would be the adjacent side prior to angle B. So ibig sabihin, ang kukunin natin would be the cosine function. Okay, so that's going to be the cosine of B equals, that would be equivalent to what? The cosine of B is equal to adjacent, which is y, over the hypotenuse, which is the value of A. Okay? So let us now try to represent the value of y in terms of the cosine of B and a side. So that's going to be, paano natin makukuha yung value ni y in terms of an angle and a side? That's going to be, we have to multiply both sides by A para makancel si A dito. So that is y equals A, that is A cosine of B. Okay, so we are now ready to substitute this to our formula. So that's going to be b square, that is b square minus a square equals c square minus 2c. So i-replace natin si y neto. So that is 2c times a cosine of b. And then simplifying this expression, or simplifying this equation, or simplifying the expressions on the equation, we'll be having what? We'll be having this one. B square minus a square equals c square minus 2ac times the cosine of b. Okay? So if you would notice, it is actually what? It considers all the sides of the of the oblique triangle and a cosine of an included angle. So kung ito ang included angle, then we are actually looking for the side of opposite to it. So we can actually have b square, that is b square equals what? That's going to be b square equals a square plus c square. So we have just transposed negative a square to the other side of the equation, making this b square equals a square minus c square plus c square minus 2ac times the cosine of b. Alright? So this law is what we so-called the law of cosines. Okay? Wherein, sa law of cosine, ina-apply lang natin siya when we are given two sides and an included angle. So, kung mapapansin ninyo, ito yung dalawang side at ito yung included angle. Okay? So, given siya. And then, it can also be applied if the given are the three sides of the oblique triangle. Okay, so this is just one case, or a part of the law of cosines. This is just the way we solve for B. Okay, paano naman po sir kung kay A? So similar lang din naman nung kay A at saka kay C. So palitan lang natin to si B, let's say for example si A, and then eto magiging B. And then, since ito yung given mo, so dapat nandito rin yung dalawang given mo. So, 2BC, and since this must be the cosine of the included angle, so dapat yung angle na opposite dito, so that's gonna be the cosine of A. Okay? Okay, so para hindi malito, gawin lang natin to. Ayan. And so with C square. Okay? So, ganun po. So, we'll be having C square equals, yung other two opposite side, that's going to be A square. Okay, sorry. A square plus B square. So, dahil yun yung after tayo, that's gonna be minus 2AB times the cosine of the opposite angle or the included angle, that is angle C. Okay? So, these are the equations we can derive from the law of cosines. Okay, so let us now apply the law of cosines in solving oblique triangles. Okay, so let us consider this first problem. So we are to find for the measures of the other angles of a triangle in which side A equals 12, side B equals 9, and angle C is 56 degrees. And then we have to find for the measure of side C. So first things first is for us to illustrate the problem for us to have a glimpse of what we are looking for. So we have here oblique triangle ABC wherein side B equals 9, side A equals 12. Remember that we are naming the sides prior to its opposite angle para hindi po malito. And then angle C is 56 degrees. Okay? So, base sa ating law of cosines, alin ba yung mas madali nating hanapin? Is it angle A, angle B, or side C? Okay? So, mas madali po nating mahanap si side C dahil ayun na po yung sinasabi ni law of cosine. Okay? So, let us try to solve for C. Using the formula, C square equals A square plus B square minus 2AB times the cosine of C. Alright? Kung napapansin ninyo, A and B here are the sides, and then angle C here is the included angle, which is the given in the problem. Okay? So what we're going to do is just to what? Just to plug in the given to our formula. Since we are looking for side C, so we leave C as it is. So that's going to be A square, the value of A is 12, so we have 12 square plus B square, the value of B is 9, so we have 9 square, minus 2 times 12, okay, since the value of A is 12, times 9, since the value of B is 9, multiplied by the cosine of C, or the cosine of 56 degrees. Okay, and then what we're going to do is just to simplify what is to be simplified. So that's going to be 12 square, that is 144, plus what is 9 square? Okay, 9 square is equivalent to 81. Okay, minus 2 times 12 times 9, so that's going to be 2 times 12 times 9. Okay, that is 216. 216 multiplied by the cosine of 56 degrees. Okay, so pwede naman natin kunin si cosine of 56 degrees pero much better na i-leave muna natin siya at idiretso na lang natin siya sa dulo para mas accurate yung makukuha nating value. Okay, so simplifying, what is to be simplified? So that's 144 plus 81. So that is 225. So we have c square equals 225 minus 216 times the cosine of 56 degrees. Okay, remember we cannot subtract 225 by 216 or we cannot subtract 225 by 216 dahil meron tayong multiplication dito. Okay, so what we're going to do is just to plug in ito sa ating calculator. So that's 225 minus 216 multiplied by the cosine of 56 degrees. Okay, so sa mas madaling paraan, we can have our answer. So that is c square equals, sabi dyan, is 104.2143329. Okay, and then after this one, what we're going to do, since c lang naman yung hinahanap natin, ang gagawin natin is for us to what? For us to extract the root of both sides. Okay, so we have the square root of c square equals, the square root of 104. Okay, 2143329. Alright. And then extracting the root of this one, so mas madali sa calculator is just to press the radical sign. That's, wag nyo munang i-on para hindi siya ma-reset. So square root of the answer kanina. Okay, so that is equivalent to 10.21 rounded off to the nearest hundreds. Okay, so meaning to say the value of C or the measure of side C is equivalent to 10.21 units. Okay, next, let us now try to solve for angle A. Okay, so let us now try to solve for angle A. Okay, so balik tayo dito kay law of cosine. Sino kaya dito yung nagko-contain ng angle A? Is it the first, the second, or the third? Okay, so si first po yung nagko-contain ng angle A. So yun po yung gagamitin nating formula for us to solve for angle A. Okay, but then yung angle A natin, nandito. Okay, pwede naman po natin gawin is first plug in the values of our formula or i-derive na agad natin or i-manipulate na agad natin yung ating formula. So, para matira si cosine A sa kabilang side ng equation, what we're going to do is to transpose first b square plus c square to the other side of the equation, and then we have to divide both sides by negative 2bc. And that will yield to cosine of A equals what? That's going to be, kapag tinranspose natin yan, that's going to be b square plus c square. That is b square plus c square minus a square. Okay, minus a square over 2bc. Okay, so ito po yung pagkuha ng ating angle A or pagkuha ng angle ng cosine of A. Okay? So, we can actually what? We can actually derive or manipulate this law of cosines para makuha natin yung different angles. So, hindi lang po tayo mag-stick dito. We can, tulad nung kay law of sines, pwede natin siyang i-manipulate. Okay? So, we have cosine of A equals b square plus c square minus a square over 2bc. Okay? Since given naman na tayo ng sides at na-compute na natin si side BC. So, we have, the value of B is 9. So, palitan lang natin si B ng 9. Si C ng 10.21. Yun yung nakuha natin kanina. Minus A, the value of A is 12. Over what? 2 times, that is BC. So, we have 9 multiplied by 10.21. Okay? And then, what we're going to do is to simplify what is to be simplified. So, we have, simplify muna natin yung taas. That is 9 square plus 10.21 square That's 10.21 square minus 12 square. Or pwede naman isa-isahin ninyo kung gusto ninyo. Okay? But I would prefer na ganito para mas madali. Okay? So that is 41.2441. So we have 41.2441. Okay? Sorry. Okay. And then simplify naman natin yung baba. So we have 2 times 9 times 10.21. So that is equivalent to 183.78. Okay. And then simplify lang natin to. So we have cosine of A equals what is 41.2441 divided by 183.78. So that's going to be 0. That is 0.2244210469. So mas maganda, mas accurate kapag kompleto yung significant figures. Okay? Next, hindi pa ito yung value or hindi pa ito yung measure ng angle A natin. So we will be doing what? The inverse trigonometric function, wherein the value of A would be what? Would be obtained, or the value or the measure of angle A would be obtained by multiplying cosine, which is cosine raised to negative 1 multiplied by this one, or the inverse function of the value. So ang gagawin natin sa calculator is just to wag natin siyang i-on or i-on para hindi siya mag-reset. So that is shift cosine para makuha natin yung cosine raised to negative 1 times the answer natin kanina. And that is equivalent to 77.03. Okay? So that is again 77.03. So angle A would measure 77.03 degrees. Okay? Or in DMS, pwede natin siyang i-convert. So that is 77 degrees, 1 minute and 52.19 seconds. Okay? So this will be the value of angle A. Okay? So, how are we going to find or to look for the measure of angle B? Okay? Pwede naman natin gawin is for us to use the law of cosine pa rin. Okay? But then again, meron namang mas madaling paraan. Okay? And that is what? If you would notice, we already have the measure of angle C here and angle A. And we all know that the sum of all the angles of any triangle is 180 degrees. So pwede natin gawin is for us to what? Is for us to use the relationship we're in. Also, the sum of the angles of a given of any triangle is equivalent to 180 degrees. And then just plugging in the given to our formula, that's 77.03 degrees, plus since we are looking for angle B, we'll leave B as it is, plus the angle C is 56 degrees equals 180 degrees. Okay? And then ang gagawin natin is simplify kung ano yung dapat nating i-simplify. So that is 77.03 plus 56, sorry, that's 56. That would be equivalent to 133.03. 133.03 plus B, since si B yung hinahanap natin, so plus B equals 180 degrees. Alright, so we'll be having B transposing 133.03 degrees, sorry, nakalimutan natin yung degrees dito. To the other side of the equation, we have B equals 180 degrees. 180 degrees minus 133.03 degrees. Okay? So, dito we have 180 minus 133.03 degrees. And that is equivalent to 46.97. So, meaning to say, angle B measures 46.97 degrees. Okay, or in DMS, that's 46 degrees, 58 minutes, and 12 seconds. Okay, so we have just what? We have just solved for the values of the other parts of the oblique triangle using the law of cosines. Okay? Alright, so let us now proceed with the next problem. Okay, here in the next problem, it says here that the lengths of the two sides of a parallelogram, so it is some sort of a word problem. So the lengths of the two sides of a parallelogram are 7.4 centimeters and 9.2 centimeters. And one of the diagonals has a length of 6.2 centimeters. So find the angles of the parallelogram. Okay? So dalawa lang naman yung angles ng parallelogram. Kung papansinin natin, these two angles are congruent and these two angles are also congruent. Sabi natin dyan, mas madali pangalanan natin yung ating parallelogram. So we have parallelogram ABCD. Okay? It says here that two sides of a parallelogram are 7.4 centimeters and 9.2 centimeters. So let us just assume that those are the measures. And then, one of the diagonals. Okay? Remember that the diagonals of a parallelogram are not congruent. Okay? So, one of the diagonals measures 6.2 centimeters. So, ang hahanapin natin are the angles of the parallelogram. So, yung angle nito at yung angle nito. Alright? So, using the law of cosine, okay, copy lang natin to para hindi tayo malito. Using the law of cosine, alright. Using the law of cosine, paano natin makukuha yung angle A? Okay, paano natin makukuha yung angle A? So, to solve for A, so ang gagamitin nating formula would be the first one. Okay? And tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, pwede naman natin tong, or pwede naman muna nating i-substitute yung values bago natin i-manipulate. Or, tulad ng ginawa natin kanina, minanipulate muna natin siya bago tayo mag-substitute. Okay? So, ang gawin natin, i-manipulate na lang muna natin to, meaning to say, cosine A is equal to B square plus C square minus A square over 2BC. Okay, so sino po dito si A? Sino po si B? Sino si C? Tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, the naming of the sides would be prior to its opposite angle. Okay, so si B would be 7.4, si C would be 9.2, and A would be 6.2. So we'll be having the value of A or the value of B is 7.4 centimeters, the value of C is 9.2 centimeters, and the value of A is 6.2 centimeters. So we'll be having that on. And then the value of B, plug in natin sa baba, that is 7.4 multiplied by the value of C, which is equivalent to 9.2 centimeters. Okay, and then after that, we just what? We just substitute the values to our formula. Or sorry, we just simplify what is to be simplified. Okay? So simplify na natin ng diretso yung taas, that's 7.4 square plus 9.2 square minus 6.2 square. And that is equivalent to 100.96. So we have here, alright, that's 110.96. And then yung baba naman, that is 2 times 7.4 times 9.2. Sorry. Alright, so we have here 136.16. So we have 136.16. And then, sisimplify na natin siya. So we have cosine of A equals, sabi natin dyan, that's 100.96. Sorry, that's 100.96 divided by 136.16. So that will be equivalent to, alright, 0. Alright, that is 0. Sorry. Replay lang natin. Okay. So we have there 0.741480611. And then, hindi pa ito yung value ni cosine of A. What we're going to do is to apply the inverse trigonometric function. So A would be equivalent to what? Cosine raised to negative 1 of, so A equals cosine raised to negative 1 of the value, which is this one. Okay. And then, plugging this to our calculator, wag muna natin tong i-on para hindi siya ma-reset. So, we have shift cos of the answer kanina. So, that is equivalent to 42.14. Okay? So, angle A would be equivalent to 42.14 degrees. Okay? So, that would be the measure of angle A. Alright. So, that is just angle A. Okay po? Maliwanag po? Alright. So, paano naman po if si angle B yung hinahanap natin? So, kay angle B, balik tayo dun sa ating law of cosine. Kay angle B, alin dito yung nagko-contain ng angle B? This is the second equation. Tama po? The second equation. Alright, so to solve for B, or to solve for angle B, we have this equation. We have B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times the cosine of B. Okay? Pero yung angle yung hinahanap natin, so we can do the same thing na ginawa natin kay cosine of A. So that is what? That would be the cosine of B. The cosine of B equals A squared plus C squared minus B squared over 2AC. Okay? So, wag pong malilito kapag binabago na po natin yung ating variables. Okay? So, that would be equivalent to, since given naman tayo ng ng measures ng side, so value of A is 6.2 centimeters, value of C is 9.2 centimeters, it's 9.2 centimeters, and the value of B is 7.4 centimeters. And then, yun sa baba, 2 times A, which is 6.2, and then 2AC, that is 9.2. Alright, there you go. And then, we just simplify. So, we'll be having cosine of B equals, so that's 6.2 square plus 9.2 square minus 7.4 square. Okay, and that is equivalent to 68.32. Okay, that is 68.32. 68.32. And then, yung sa baba naman, we have 2 times 6.2 times 9.2. Sorry, that's times 9.2. That will be equivalent to 114.08. Okay, so we have 114.08 on 14.08. Alright, and then we simplify. We have cosine of B equals what is 68.32 divided by 114.08. Okay, so that is equivalent to the value 0.5988779804. And then tulad ng ginawa natin kanina kay angle A, for us to solve for B, we look for the cosine raised to negative 1 of, alright, copy lang natin to, cosine raised to negative 1 of the value we have obtained. The cosine raised to negative 1 of this one. Alright. So, wag muna nating i-reset yung nasa calculator. So, press lang natin si shift, cosine, of the answer kanina. Okay, so that would be 53.21 degrees. So meaning to say, angle B measures 53.21 degrees. Okay, so this will be the measure of angle B. Alright. Now, how are we going to solve for the measure of angle A? Okay? Angle C, sorry. Alright, since pwede naman nating ulit gamitin si law of cosine. Okay? Using the third equation. Pero, syempre, meron tayong mas madaling paraan. And that is, we have noticed that angle A and angle B are already given. And we all know that the sum of the measures of the angles of any triangle would be always be equivalent to 180 degrees or 180 degrees. So we have A plus B. So gawin natin to solve for C. Again, pwede nyo pong gamitin si law of cosine. Okay? Si law of cosine. Sige, gamitin na lang natin si law of cosine para dire-diretso tayo ng law of cosine. So, ang gagamitin natin will be this one. We have here. And then, gagawin natin is manipulate na ulit natin ulit. Again, manipulate na lang muna natin ulit. So, that's going to be the cosine of C naman. The cosine of C equals, it's going to be A square plus B square minus C square over 2AB. Alright, there you go. Okay? And then, plug in the values to our formula. So, we have here. A would be equivalent to 6.2. And then, B is equivalent to 7.4. And then, C is equivalent to 9.2. Okay? And then, we have down here 2 times 6.2 times 7.4. Alright. Pwede naman natin, idiretso na natin sa calculator since we have made the process dun sa dalawa nating kinuha kanina. So, 6.2 square plus 7.4 square minus 9.2 square over 2 times 6.2 times 7.4. Okay, make sure na tama yung in-enter natin sa calculator. So, we have down there 0. So, we have here the cosine of C. The cosine of C is equal to 0.093286,835,22. Alright, so that would be the cosine of C equals 0. Blah blah blah. Alright, and then getting what? Getting the inverse trig. We have C equals what? Cosine raised to negative 1. That is cosine raised to negative 1. That's cosine raised to negative 1 cosine raised to negative 1 of the value we have obtained a while ago. Alright. So, wag muna nating wag muna nating kay calculator, i-on para hindi ma-reset. So, that's shift cos of the answer a while ago. So, we have 84.65. So, the measure of angle C is 84.65 degrees. Alright. So, that would be the value of angle C. Alright. Do not forget the degree sign. Okay. Now, to double check, ang gagawin natin, pagpa-plusin naman natin yung tatlo para ma-double check lang natin. So, we have 42.14 plus 53.21, which is angle B, and then angle C is equivalent to what? 84.65, which is indeed equivalent to 180 degrees, na kung saan ang concept natin is that all the angles of any triangle or the sum of the angles of any triangle is equivalent to 180 degrees. Okay? But have we answered the question to the problem? Sabi dyan, find the angles of the parallelogram. Okay? Paano natin masasolve ngayon yung angles ng parallelogram? Okay? So, si angle A, given na that would be 42.14. But remember, this diagonal divides angle C and angle B. So, ang gagawin natin, etong angle na to at saka yung angle na to ay congruent. Okay, alternate interior angle. So, if you still remember, yung parallels, cut by a transversal. So, meaning to say, if we are to add angles B and C, then that would be the measure of these two congruent angles. Okay? So, meaning to say, the measures of the angles of the parallelogram. Still remember, the angles of a parallelogram is, or two pairs of angles or two opposite pairs of angles of a parallelogram are congruent. So si angle A and angle D ng parallelogram na ito ay congruent, wherein angle A is equivalent to 42.14. That's 42.14. And yung angle C and angle B, ang gagawin natin is for us to what? Just to add angle C and angle D na nakuha natin kay law of cosines. So that would be what? That would be 53.21 plus 84.65 degrees. So that's going to be 137.86. Again, so 137.86 degrees. So this will be the measures of the angles of the parallelogram.